What's going on? Welcome to Reading Between the Wines. We got a good show tonight. Author Ellie Aiden coming in, and it's gonna get real spicy. So I suggest you go ahead and tag your friends and let them know what we got going on inside of Reading Between the Wines tonight. It's Wine Down Wednesday, Wine Wednesday. Grab your glass, grab your bottle, whatever you got. Come on in and wind down here. It is April 27th. Man, we almost out of here. Countdown. Countdown is on. Some real. I'm sipping some white Zinfandel. Not white Zinfandel. What am I thinking? I got it all jacked up already and we ain't even start yet. White Merlot. So I got some Beringer White Merlot. Hey, what's going on, Miss Shanti? How you doing? Shanti Refuge. White Beringer. Beringer. I call it Beringer. White Merlot. I was in the mood for some Merlot, but I was like, I'm not quite sure if I really want to, go in with the real red. So we got white tonight, which does resemble white Zinfandel, but it's a little darker. And at the end of the day, it's a little bit stronger. So perfect night for tonight. We have author Ellie Aiden coming in. You want to go ahead and support Reading Between the Wines, go ahead and like, comment, share, tag your friend, people out there on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, D Live, Twitch. And you can also get some snippets of the show on Daily Motion, everything at Laren Gaines. Go ahead and check me out. And here we go. Get right on into Song of the Day. So I love this chick. Some people are a little, they don't like how she does some of the things that she do, but I love everything that she does, and I can see the shift that's going on. And when I saw her for the first time back in 2019, she's been around way before this, doing all kinds of independent and other undercover things. But I first, saw her with this song Juice. I was minding my business, and all of a sudden the video came on, and I was like, this is some old school stuff. And Lizzo really did, captivate me with that Juice, video. And from there, I dug into the album and I started to, get more songs from her that I love. But I love the confidence. I love the vibe. I love the message behind Juice. Anybody can use that at any given time. So, like Lizzo says, it ain't my fault. Blame it on the juice. Blame it on the juice. Off of the "Cause I Love You" album, 2019, and it's also Miss Lizzo's birthday. So happy birthday, Lizzo! Now I gotta give a very special thank you to everybody out there who supports, who comments, likes, shares, whatever you do. I definitely do appreciate each and every one of you. I want to give a shout out to $5 Jewelry Queen. Thank you so much. I am wearing her jewelry tonight, so I appreciate you for that. Mr. Adam Bullock, all the way from Arizona. What's up? My friend, I'm the co host of his show, which is called Midnight Vibes. Check him out on YouTube, and I will be there as well. Midnight Vibes, Saturday at midnight at Alex Coquito. Y'all go ahead and check him out. Shanti Refuge, she just came through on Instagram. She has 26 journals, give you anything that you need, help you get through your life on a regular, everyday basis, whether it's money, whether it's finance, whether it's love, whatever it is, you can manifest pretty much anything you want if you put your mind to it. Check out my friend, Miss Shanti Refuge. Angela, thank you so much for supporting as well. I appreciate you. Danny from My Survivor Voice Podcast. Y'all go ahead and check out My Survivor Voice Podcast and hear some of these real life stories that are life changing. Author Lachelle Williams, my friend, all the way from the ATL. What's up? How you doing out there? And Switch Thrift Clothing Company. That's a mouthful right there. Switch Thrift Clothing Company. Thank you for supporting. And Miss Lakeisha and Abundance Moon, thank you so much. We got this giveaway going on, and you won last time, so we will see who will win the giveaway. If you want to get a free copy of my book, Volume 1.5, check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook, follow the instructions, like, comment, share, tag your friends, and we are going to go ahead and give away 2 copies of my new book, and we're going to do that, I believe, on Saturday or Sunday. Onyx Blade, I met him through Alex Coquito, and you got you real deep, and he has some good conversations to speak about. And also, I have to give a very, very special thank you to Coffee and Combos with Liz. We had a great conversation earlier this year on her platform, Coffee and Combos with Liz, and I just opened up and shared, some of the things that brought me to where I am with Volume 1.5. So please go ahead and check out my friend Coffee and Combos with Liz, wonderful podcast there. Y'all ready? Author Ellie Aiden gonna come in tonight, and man, I got a preview of it. Mm-mm-mm. You better get your glasses ready because we getting ready to go on a ride tonight. Now, before we go on this ride, before we go on this journey, we're gonna get a little deep, and then we're gonna have a little fun. This is just the way we do it here on a 411 podcast and reading between the wines. We just talk about some real life situations, and I'm here to share my experience with you, share my growth, and let you know what I used to be and where I'm at right now. And stay tuned, and you'll be able to see what I got going on in the future. But I had to rewind it and go back to the question that we asked the night before, and it's plain and simple. Should one stay in a relationship until they find the next best thing? And now, some of you out there will be like, yeah, take them for a ride, take her for a ride, do whatever you got to do, as long as you got something, you know, keep it going. Others are like SOS came through. Shout out to SOS. She was like, fuck that shit. You don't do that. You need to work on yourself. I believe someone else said absolutely not because that's using people. Should you stay in a relationship until you find the next best thing? One thing that I've learned in life, and I've had this conversation as well, that you know what goes around comes around. And you might think that you are on top right now, and you might think that you're really doing it big right now, but trust and believe that everybody has their day. And I don't know when it's going to come back and when it's going to come back around, but the things that you do today will come back. They don't go ahead and say these same things over and over again in different religions and different aspects. As far as what goes around comes around, you reap what you sow. I mean, not everybody going to continue to say the same thing and same thing on and on and on and on before people actually get it and people understand. So I would say both people are wrong. Both people are wrong in a relationship, because should you stay in a relationship until the next best thing comes? Absolutely not. I think that is a horrible thing to do. You should not use people. And for the other person that might be used or might be in a position of getting used, the question that I have for you is, where's your self worth and where's your understanding at? You didn't know that the situation wasn't the same. You didn't know that he or she all of a sudden comes home and doesn't speak to you anymore. Listen, I don't know who I'm talking to or who've been there before, who've had this situation before, but you was in love in the beginning, and then now all of a sudden you hate them. You was just so wrapped up that you decided to move everything in and change everything in one aspect, and now on the other end you running from it. Both people are wrong, because no, you should not stay in a relationship until the next best thing come. But the other person, on the other hand, you didn't see those signs, you didn't get that intuition, you didn't understand and know that something just wasn't right. Maybe there will be no argument, maybe there will be no disagreements, maybe it is all truly deception, maybe it is. But we all get this little thing called intuition. Women sometimes get a little more than men. But let me tell you, we all know when something ain't right. So listen, maybe you should break that shit off before they try to even have an opportunity or attempt to use you. Should one stay in a relationship until the next best thing comes along? Absolutely not. Now, with that, sometimes we go through these reality checks. We talked about it before. Now, the question that I have is, how often do you do some self awareness checks? Do you exercise your own self awareness skills to know that something just ain't right? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I acting this way? Why does this circumstance make me feel this way? Why do I keep coming to the same situation over and over again? How come I got out of this relationship, got out of that relationship, and all of a sudden there is a symptom of that we might be repeating the same thing over and over and over again? People say, why me? Why me? Why me? Did you take the time to get to know who you are? Don't use them. Don't just stay in a situation until. If you know you want better and you know you want to do better, then do better, and do better by yourself until you can get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. A lot of this comes into play when you start to know what's going on with self. Everything starts with self. We got to keep repeating these things and keep going through these things, because sometimes it's not easy for us to understand that every single thing that we got going on in our world today took me a long time to realize this. Every single thing that we got going on in our world today is because we created it. So now, if you don't like the situation, you don't like the relationship, you don't like the person anymore, there's something that you can do. You can get up and you can take responsibility for yourself and change your whole situation immediately. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. Was it easy? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you this, I love the person that I am today, and I love the person that I am becoming. And although I'm not where I need to be, I know damn well that I'm not what I used to be. And nobody can make me feel that type of way ever again, because I have been exercising these self awareness skills, and I know what I want, and I know what I need, and I know what I'm going to put up with, and I know what I'm not. And it's called having boundaries, and it's called having standards, and it's called actually knowing who the hell you are. So if you don't know who the hell you are, how you going to be any good to somebody else and provide any type of value or any type of insight or anything to anybody else? I feel so sorry for all of the people that knew me back in the day, because I didn't even know who I was back then. So who the hell? Listen, we're not even gonna get into it. So it's Wine Down Wednesday. Wine Wednesday. We got White Merlot tonight, and we also have author Ellie Aiden coming in. And listen, tag your friends, get them on in. We getting ready to go through a whole journey tonight. And I'm sure there's gonna be some good laughs, and there's gonna be some good moments, and there's gonna be some. Did she just say that? Yeah, it's gonna be that type of night here on the 411 podcast. 411 podcast, reading between the lines. I don't know why, but they all one and the same.
Hello.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm wonderful.
So I have to ask you a question, because I asked, everybody when we first came on. Self-awareness skills, knowing your own thoughts, your actions, things that make up you. How often do you exercise those skills?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. And I really kind of try to think about stuff like that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because I think most people are not very self aware. They
Mm-hmm.
don't realize the things that they do, and their faults and weaknesses and stuff like that. I really do try to pay attention to those things, and look at, sometimes I'll look at where I was 10 years ago
Mm.
and what my personality was like, and how I treated people and how I talked to people versus how I do now. And if you see growth, from where you were then and where you are now, that really helps me. Really looking at the past, what would I have done in this situation 10 years ago?
Absolutely. Listen, I see
Yeah.
I see all of the things that I have today, and I'm like, there's no way that I would have been prepared and ready for it. I did have to have these self-awareness, meetings with myself and people who love me, who know me, that say, listen, this is a situation here. Maybe you might need to take some. I had some friends tell me, what the fuck do you think you are doing? Like, you just got out of this situation, right? I
Yep.
think you need to back up with this. I found myself trying to do the same thing that I was doing for so many years. But one thing that I do know is that if you believe in a higher power, and I know we getting ready to get into a whole different situation, but you believe in
Uh-huh.
that, sometimes the universe, whoever you believe in, will protect you from yourself.
Uh-huh.
That was the whole situation. I had to be protected from myself, so I didn't make the same mistakes. And then from there, once I got with self, I was able to have those deep self awareness, you know, lessons that I need to, go through. So, but yeah.
Yep. Nobody is infallible. We all make mistakes. It's just how you learn from those mistakes.
And that's the thing. You were considered a fool if you don't learn from your mistakes. And I have been a fool for so many years. But one thing that I could say is I'm thankful that I'm not today. I
That's right.
know that
You're
for
in a better
sure.
place.
Hmm. We are in a better place. We are doing reading between the wines. I'm sipping some white Merlot, and I have an awesome author on tonight, Miss Ellie Aiden. So let everybody know where you are calling from tonight.
I am in the great state of Texas.
We have been in Texas for minutes. We were in Texas on Monday with my rap tribe, Miss Jetta Smith. So, what part of Texas are you from?
Dallas, the DFW area. So
Okay,
that's northeast Texas.
pretty busy, pretty busy.
Uh-huh.
So, Cowboys are all over the place.
Yeah, we're pretty obsessed with the Cowboys here. We're pretty obsessed with the University of Texas Longhorns.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we take our football very seriously in Texas.
Lots of good food.
Oh yes, well, I could argue that you can't get better sweet tea or barbecue anywhere other than Texas.
Mm.
I'm drinking sweet tea right now. I should probably be drinking wine, all things considered, but
Now, if you drink wine, what would be your favorite type of grape wine?
I do not drink a lot of wine. Don't
Mm-hmm.
kill me. But if I am drinking wine, it has to be a white. I do not like red at all.
Well,
I can even do like a pink, but not a red. And I think that's because it's, third room temperature, and that's just not for me.
yeah, I'm not gonna upset people. I won't tell you what I do with some of my red wine, so we ain't even gonna do that. For all of the wine
Well,
people, they'd be so upset if they knew. But I feel you. I know what you mean.
yeah, well, I used to when I was younger and I did drink wine, I would chill my red wine. And it just used to drive everybody I ran around with absolutely crazy.
That's what I'm.
So,
Yeah. Um,
don't kill us, but
I got some white Merlot. Maybe that's something you might want to try in the future.
okay.
It's like a
That
blush.
sounds yummy.
It's like a blush. You call it a pink, but it's a blush.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, that's how much I know about wine. And I call it a pink.
Okay. So now take us through some of your book titles and how you come up with this. I know you got this great book coming out this summer, which I know we're going to hear a little bit of it, but I want to go through the journey of some of the books prior to here.
Sure. So, I mean, I've been writing for a long time, but during the pandemic, that was really when I was working from home, and I really had time to really focus on it. I think all authors we hate our own work. We're self-deprecating, and so we never think that our work is good enough. And so I spent a lot of years, not finishing novels because I never thought they were good enough. And during the pandemic, I thought, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I'm gonna self-publish this, and people like it or they don't. And it just is what it is. It isn't about that. It's about getting that work out there. So my first three novels were kind of a dystopian type thing. And it wasn't really what I wanted to be writing. If I'm reading reverse harems or, smut, to be just completely honest. And so I moved into that. And so that's when I was in bed one night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I sat straight up and I was like, a very awesome story. That would be a great title for a book. And so it just came out like word vomit. So that was my first real series that I published, was a Very Awesome series. There are 6 books in it. It's actually my most successful out of all of the books that I've published up to this point. It still gets lots of pages read every day, still gets copies bought, and, it's been out. The book one's been out for over a year and a half. So I'm really happy with them. I actually pulled an excerpt from one of my favorite things in that book that we can read that if we have time later. But so that was my first real series, and it's a reverse harem, and it follows a fairy princess, but she's not your average fairy princess. Mm-hmm. And it's just really it was so fun to write, and it was just such a fun. I think it's a fun read. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to go down the path of witches, and I've got a series that I'm working on now. There are 3 books out in the Bitches to Witches series, and so there's Bitches to Witches, Witches Be Tripping, and the one that just came out was Payback the Witch. There are 2 more books in that series. So
I love all of the titles. I love all of the titles, and I love the promotion that you did for them. I did see that. That was an amazing job.
Thank you. Well, I actually write most of my books. I actually have the title first. Mm-hmm. So I have a list on my computer of book titles. And depending on my mood, I'll go through that, and a title will strike me, and I'll just start writing.
That
So
is
that's
that
pretty much how that happened.
that's good. I know exactly what you mean. Titles come to me all the time, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I'll follow this way. I'll follow this way. So yeah, titles
Yep.
definitely come first, I believe, for me anyway.
Yep. And I know there's a lot of authors that they're not like that, but that's my creative process. Is I come up with those titles first, or I'll even get on Pinterest and start looking at pictures, and maybe a picture of something or a painting will strike me, and I'll start writing. Ideas for books don't necessarily come to me until I have one of those two things. Something has to kind of really hit me, and it's usually that title first.
That's good to know. Okay, so then
Yeah.
after we went from what was it, bitches to witches,
Yeah.
so
I know.
after we went from there until now we ready for the new book.
Yes, and so I was actually in the middle of writing that series, Bitches to Witches series, and I was sitting here one night, and I really was just frustrated with Bitches to Witches. I couldn't figure out where I wanted book 4 to go in that series, and I had an idea for another book, and I started writing, and it's the fastest book I've ever written. I wrote it in about 14 days, and that was start to finish, and it's Sex in the End of the World. It all goes well. It will release this summer, and I think it will. It's basically a finished product at this point. Just needs editing and all that. But it follows Fallon, and she's been through some things, and she uses sex as a crutch, and so it basically follows her through the end of the world. The world ends. Most everybody's dead. She thinks everyone's dead at first, and she gradually comes across people, and she's a little loose, and she hooks up with a few people along the way until she really realizes that she gains self-confidence and boosts her self-esteem, and she meets somebody who she really thought was kind of an asshole, and he turns out to maybe kind of be a pretty nice guy. So all my books, I think, they're fun reads. They're not really, I don't like to go real deep when I read, and I think there's a time for that. But when I'm reading for fun. I want something that is going to catch me, I don't want to be laying there and in the fetal position when I'm reading the book. I mean, that's just not for me. So I keep it light.
All right. Well, so let's get right on into this. But I know you called her kind of loose, right? But she's probably expressing herself, and maybe she made it known that she's this way. But the real question I have for these people who say that people are loose or people are out there is, now if the camera was turned at you or someone was able to peek through your window, would you be considered loose as well? This person is just out there free. This person is just out there freely doing it, and I don't know. That could be a burning question one day because it's easy to point the finger. It's easy to say that this person is doing this and this person is doing that, but
that's right. And I'm a firm believer that we put way too much emphasis on virginity in the first place and how important that is. And, I live in the Bible Belt, so people think things differently here, obviously. And so I hear that, and I'm around that all day. And but I mean, the root of the problem is why she's having sex with all these people. For her personally, it's a crutch. It's the thing that she didn't want to be alone, and she was alone. And that one night stand was the 1 hour, the 2 hours of it's a really good time. That really kind of made her feel not alone. And so I think we also have to look at why is it? Is this freedom of expression? Is this is this depression? What is their mental health, or is it if I'm just a fun time, I just enjoy it and I don't put any emphasis on that. I think everybody's different.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole deep conversation too. I mean we could go down that whole path, but we'll get right on into the book. So the book is called "Sex in the End of the World."
Yeah.
Well, some people say that the end of the world is coming, and we're almost there. So. I don't know.
I guess we'll see, huh?
Yeah. So, all right, what you have for us?
Well, I pulled this excerpt. I thought, this one is It is going to be a sex scene. I mean, it's not, this one is, well, this one's not a sex scene, but this is kind of shows Fallon's personality, and I will tell you that you are taking my sex scene read virginity. So this will be the first time that I have read. I've read books, some of my books before on podcasts, but I've never, gone quite down this path. So you're getting that, and you can always hold on to that.
Very good. It's an exclusive here. What we in the music industry, they say it's an exclusive. So we have an exclusive read here.
I pulled two excerpts. The first one is not really 16, but it's kind of really showing her personality, and she kind of talks to herself a lot. And so I like that when they talk to themselves and really have whole conversations in their mind in books. So she does that, and that kind of shows that. So if you're ready, I'll give this. This is a short little scene that I'll go ahead and read.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's her name again?
So Fallon is our main character.
Okay, Fallon, like Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so in this scene, I'll kind of prep it. In this scene, she has just really found the very first person that she thought everybody else was dead. And this guy across the hall in her apartment complex, they're going to kind of help each other out and keep each other alive and all that. And that's kind of led up to, okay, now they just kind of want to relax. And they've been throwing back shots and just trying to take their mind off of everything that has happened. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm on shot number 7 of whiskey. I have a very thin line between fun buzzed and blackout drunk. Tonight, with my new friend, I'd like to say this side of that line. But clearly, Cutter is a drinker. He doesn't even seem fazed as he throws down another one down the hatch. Cutter eyes me as he slams the shot glass down on my coffee table. You done? I giggle. I know my limit. And right now, I'm one shot away from passing out. He snorts and nods his head before grabbing the bottle as if he's going to leave, but I stop him with my hand on his wrist. Wait, that doesn't mean you have to go, I tell him. Please, he responds coolly, and places the bottle back where it was. Damn it. I can feel myself saying it before it even comes out of my mouth, and I try to stop myself, but it's no use. It's like freaking word vomit. You could stay, I tell him. I drop my eyes and then pop them back up, trying to gauge his reaction. He's frozen, staring at the table, but finally, he twists his head in my direction. When he responds, it's as if he's gauging me. Yeah, I could sleep on the couch if you're scared. I don't mind. Don't you do it, Fallon. Don't you dare do it. That isn't what I meant, I tell him. You dirty, dirty whore. What is wrong with you? Cutter seems surprised at my forwardness, but no less intrigued. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I winked. I swear to God, I'm the biggest slut on the face of the planet. Well, there aren't that many people left, but still, I'm a slut. And despite having a chance to reinvent myself, I'm going to fuck the first guy that steps foot in my apartment. I'll feel worse about it tomorrow, but right now, my insides are already starting to throb.
Oh, wow.
She has full-on conversations with herself, and I mean, she's not as funny as Elle in A Very Awesome Series. This is not really Fallon's thing, but she's really self-deprecating, but she does it in a funny way, so it's not so deep and dark.
Yeah, that definitely was funny.
Yeah.
So. All right, what else you got for us?
All right. So I pulled this one. Let's see if I pulled the whole section. I think I did. All right, so I'll start this one. And this is, I'm not going to say what the really bad thing that happened that led to this, because that would really kind of blow the whole book out of the water. Mm-hmm. But something really bad happened right before this to Fallon and some friends that she's made during the end of the world. And so one of those friends is Stone, and they've grown very close, and they're very good friends. And so basically she's sitting here, and they're just basically being each other's company in the aftermath of this horrible event. Okay. In the dark, I feel his hand slide into mine. He tugs me, but I can't get much closer, at least not until he lifts me and sets me in his lap. I'm sideways when I settle, my legs hanging over the edge as he leans his forehead against my temple. He's hurting right now, and even though it's dark, I can tell he's crying. I squeeze him tightly. Are you okay? What am I even saying? Of course you're not okay. I'm such an idiot. Stone pulls back. No, you aren't. You're the first person that's been precious to me outside of my family. I mean that. You're important to me. My heart melts. Stone, I breathe. He starts, but he isn't able to finish. Instead, he sinks back, his head thudding against Stone. It's okay, I tell him. It may not feel like it right now, but trust me, it gets easier every day. I already told Stone about my parents, so he knows I know what I'm talking about, and he nods his head. Leaning forward, he presses his lips to mine softly. He doesn't take it further than that, though. Instead, he pulls back and locks eyes with me. I just don't want to think about it, he admits, his words barely above a whisper. Help me. Help me not think about it, please. I know what he's asking, and I'm surprised. Not that he would want to have sex with me. I mean, come on, I'm a catch. But that he's suggesting it right now, this soon. I know a lot of people use sex when someone dies, and it isn't any different than what I did for years, still do, actually. So I guess I shouldn't be shocked by what he's asking for. I also want to help him. I want to help him feel better. I want to be the one that takes his mind off things, even if it's only for a little while. I'm his friend. I'm his friend. We are friends. Stone is looking at me with pleading eyes, and I can tell he's not responding. My not responding is bothering him. I can also tell he's this close to bolting, so I respond, whatever you need. There's nothing else to discuss, really. Stone lifts me and carries me to a small office just outside the locker room. He sets me on the desk quietly before hurrying back to close the door. He's careful not to make a sound, as to not wake his sister and Zoya up, but I feel a little weird about doing this here with them so close. Plus, I'm not one to be quiet during sex, but I'll have to be for Stone. He needs this. He crosses back to me and removes nothing more than our jeans and underwear. After putting on a condom that he found in the desk drawer, he slips them between my knees, the shaft entering me at the same time our lips connect. It's deep and hard. It isn't like our other kisses. This is powerful, for him, at least. It's what he needs right now, and I intend to give it to him. Even if he skips right over foreplay, I'm going to give him a pass. When Stone flies out of me, I can tell he's going through the motions. This isn't about love or even lust. This is about forgetting. It's almost clinical. That doesn't mean he isn't enjoying it, though, because when he bottoms out again, his head falls back, his eyes roll, and he whispers my name back to back. I'm enjoying this only because he is. This isn't like any other sex I've had before. Sure, I've had sex for years just to forget, feel good even for a minute, but I've never been on the other side. It's different, but it isn't bad, because I don't mind. I don't mind being this for him. I can't help the sad smile that spreads across my face as Stone moves in and out. The fingers on one of his hands are tangled in my hair, and his other hand grips my ass cheek tightly. He pounds into me over and over as he watches me. Even right now, even knowing why we're doing this, he's still trying to gauge whether I'm enjoying this or not. I let myself relax. I don't want to make him feel bad. I don't want him to think this is forced or that he isn't good at it, that I'm not enjoying myself. I am. I'm enjoying it for him, with him. In fact, I feel connected to him on the deepest level. The reason I'm doing this, it feels right and good. It's the best reason I've ever had sex. I feel good about myself as Stone continues, his thrust becoming erratic quickly. I close my eyes and try to sink into the moment. He's hitting all the right spots. But with eyes closed and as he slips into me one last time, I'm shocked at who I'm imagining. Easton. Bum, bum, bum.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. At first, I couldn't understand whether this was exciting and it was enjoyable or not. But then I was like, all right. But oh man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So really for her, this is, she doesn't, it takes her a while to really grasp it. She's like, this is for him. This has nothing to do with me. But I don't, then all of a sudden, oh my God, who am I imagining? So, you got to read the whole book to figure out why that's such a big deal.
Okay, now a lot of people are not going to speak about this, but since you took it there, I'm going to speak about it. So that is so true that you can be engaging with somebody and thinking about somebody else. I think when it gets to that point, when you're about somebody else, you probably might need to question, should we be doing this again? Or if you're wrapped up into a relationship or whatever, be like, should we really be doing this? Like, do I need to work on my relationship? Why am I visioning and thinking of somebody else when I really should be enjoying a moment with you? Have you ever been in a situation where you thought of somebody else and visualized somebody else? If you can.
Adult? I don't think so.
I'm not listening. Well, are you married? Because that might.
I'm married, and I've been married for a long time.
I'm gonna tell you.
I definitely think I would have.
I bet a lot of people who are married think of other people at some point in their marriage, and I bet they do because not everything is all roses. Not everything's 100%. Relationships go through their ups and downs. But I would like to argue the fact that I believe that married people, because they are tied down and they can't be free and they can't be loose like Fallon, that to stay committed and stay in their relationship and stay faithful, that they might need to go on a trip when they're engaging in sexual, you know, situations with their spouse. I would think
I
that.
think it's I think it's all about boundaries with your spouse. Like, I think there's a lot of married couples that's something that they do together. You know,
Mm,
like that's how they do things, and they know the other does those things, and they may role play. And so I kind of think it's about that. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong if you're laying there and you're thinking about Chris Pratt. I mean, my God, who cares? I mean, he's hot. So,
right.
but at the end
That
of the day, I think it is different with marriage. If you're thinking about somebody if you're thinking about your next
absolutely,
door neighbor or your husband's
absolutely.
brother,
Yeah,
you got a problem.
yeah. And that's one thing. In the past, I've had some situations like this is a superstar. Like, I know we're not having this conversation about why somebody is thinking about a superstar that's probably in
Uh
reality
huh.
not obtainable. Like, you can't get to them.
Right.
But
Yep.
those pictures that you got on your cell phone from the person that you hooked up with 2 3 months ago, you can reach out to them anytime you want to.
That's right.
So,
That guy that you dated in high school that's been in your DMs. That's the stuff you got to watch out for. But
oh,
daydreaming about
absolutely.
Pratt is not a problem.
Watch out for those high school ones that come back because they all do come back. Trust
They
and
sure
believe.
do. They sure do.
And they can ruin a situation or they can make it great. It all depends on what side of the fence you're on.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. You got to be careful about that. And they don't care most of the time because they're coming back because they're probably not in a good place.
absolutely. Be careful with that rewind and doing that U-turn
Mm-hmm.
situation.
Listen,
So
I feel like our relationship ended for a reason, and I'm not trying to backtrack.
yeah, it takes you a while to learn it though. I mean, I believe that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us go through the situation where we backtrack a couple times before we get it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not discrediting that because I do know that there are some stories out there where people were together, they broke up, they went their separate way, they both tried to figure it out on their own, and then they tried to find what they can find in other people, and they realized that they had it the whole time. So then they went back to each other, and then it worked. Yes, that could happen.
That's true.
So,
I've seen that happen too.
one of my mentors told me, Laren, one thing that you can't do is get involved with true love. Like, you cannot get involved with true love at all. It's going to be what it's going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
no one can break it up. So if you think that you are in true love and, oh my God, she stole my man or he stole my girl or whatever, that's not true love because at the end of the day, if it's real, they're both going to do whatever they're going to do to make it work. And there is nobody in this world that could break that up.
Ding, ding, ding. You hit the
So
nail on the head.
the bottom line is if they leave and they ain't staying and whatever, it was never yours to begin with.
That's right. Preach.
So let everyone know where they can follow you at, where they can get your latest book, Bitches to Witches, and all of that great stuff.
Yes, so I'm on Instagram. I use Instagram more than just about anything. I don't use Facebook a whole lot, but I'm on Instagram at Ellie Aiden 82. So you can probably tell how old I am.
That's
And
all right.
so you can follow me on there. I'm on there every single day. I post, what's going on with me and what books I've got happening. And of course, you can find all my books on Amazon and Walmart.com. Check it out. Lots of good books. And it's important to me that my books be free on Kindle Unlimited. I have Kindle Unlimited. So if you've got Kindle Unlimited, it's a monthly fee that you pay, and then you can read all the Kindle Unlimited books you want that month for no additional money. So all my books are free on there on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. So go on there, pay your monthly fee, and you can read all my big books this month for free.
That's what's up. I love it. So you were saying you could tell how old you are by the handle name,
Uh,
but it's all good though
uh,
because one thing, you don't look that way, and
well, thank you.
and I'm older than you anyway. So I just wanted to let you know.
Well, when I first made that handle, it just didn't ever dawn on me that I would, have I've got like over 5,000 followers, or that anything would ever come of me doing this. And so I didn't think anything about it. It was more of a personal Instagram than it really was going to be an author Instagram. I should probably start a new one and do author Instagram, but it's fine. You know, I love my followers. They're wonderful. I've got, you know, I appreciate so much the people that follow me and support the books that I put out there, because at the end of the day, yes, it is my art and I'm putting it out there because of that, but books have always been a release for me. And so if I can provide somebody an hour, 2 hours of escape from their problems, bad home life, work, whatever, then I feel like it's not about the money for me. That's what it's about, is helping to provide somebody escape.
Now, you know, you take me on a journey where, you know, trying to, you know, go there. But did you always think that way? Because I've experienced the same thing where, you know, I started the 411 podcast. I started reading Between the Wines, and I've been like on and off with it a couple times. One minute I was like, all right, we're going to try to, you know, be the biggest and the best. And then one part we're like, you know what, it is what it is. Whatever it does, it does. Did you always think the way that you think now? Because I think when you think the way that you think now, that's the way you go behind it, and everything that you get is organic and it's natural, and whatever comes to you the right way. You know, was it always like that?
So I think 20 years ago, I thought I was going to be a famous best-selling author. And my work was never good enough. I never published anything. I never tried to get an agent or anything. None of those things ever happened. And like I said, during the pandemic, I finally was like, screw it. This is not about that. This is about me and providing people escape. And it really did. You're right. It happened organically. You know, that A Very Awesome Series had some success. I mean, was it a best-selling book? No. And am I ever going to be rich? I have no idea. But, you know, I mean, to me, I think that comes with age. Absolutely. I think there are a lot of 20-something-year-old people out there that think I'm going to turn this into $1 million a year job. And that's just not realistic. Most authors do not make a good living. They have to have 2 and 3 other jobs. And, you know, myself included. So I think it's age. I think you learn that lesson. And I think if I had really put myself out there in my 20s, I don't think I would have been successful, because I think it would have been about the money. And I would have tried to pander to, you know, a publishing company and all of that. And I don't have to worry about any of that, because nowadays you can self-publish. Anybody can self-publish.
Now, do you self-publish?
I do. All my books are self-published, and I don't even know that if I had the opportunity to publish traditionally, that I would even do that. I don't know that I would.
Yeah, because then somebody has to tell you what you can and cannot put in your book and this and that, and it's just like, and
that's right.
Sorry, but we need
it's bad enough that we've got social media platforms telling us, you know, I can't promote the Witch's book on Instagram because it says bitches in the title.
And we're not even going to get into that, because half of the shit that is on some of these platforms are ridiculous. And
I know.
Listen.
Yeah, don't get me started.
That's a whole nother story. I backed up with some of these places, and it is what it is. Nope, doing that. But you said age and also experience will teach you a lot of things. Experience is a good teacher.
Yeah.
You will learn what to do and what not to do by going through some jacked up situations. Trust them.
Yeah. My 20-year-old did some dumb shit. So.
And even if you had that, I feel like if I had the things that I have today and had it instantly like that, number one, people wouldn't like me, because my attitude was a trip, amongst other different things. And I honestly think that I would have been self-destructive and wouldn't even be here.
When you gradually achieve the things through hard work over years, you are humble, because you know that it's because of your hard work and not because it was handed to you, or not because it just came to you so easily. You worked for that, and you know that it could have just as easily gone the other way. So I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to switch it a little bit and get into burning questions, which is basically a segment of the show where we flip it and we start talking about things that we were absolutely not even on the same track. But, you know, it does, you know, ring a bell with some of the topics that we were speaking, you know, to tonight. tonight. So the burning question I have for you is, what advice, and think about the day and age that we're in today, because it's so much different between, I know you and I are, from the same era. So dating 10 years ago is a hell of a lot different from what the hell's going on in this world today. But what advice do you have for someone who is new to the dating scene, getting into it again, whether this is their very first time, they're young, which I feel sorry for the young ones out there because I couldn't do the shit y'all do right now here today. I'm just not that one. But whether you are back in the scene because you went through a divorce, breakup, separation, whatever, what do you have for people who are just getting right on into it?
I will tell you that when I was younger, I thought that I needed to be with someone, and I didn't like to be alone. So my advice is whether you're starting off and you're 20 years old or whether you are 40 or 50 years old, is the first step is to be comfortable being alone.
Absolutely.
And to be comfortable with yourself, because until you are, your relationships are not going to be successful because you're going to be so reliant on that person that it's going to be toxic. That's really the first thing.
That is so true. You just basically told my life story, because every single time that I was in a relationship, I was so dependent on the other person, couldn't be alone, didn't want to be alone, and always latching on to somebody. And then when they turned around and they did the 180, what did I lose my damn mind? Definition of losing your mind was insane, insanity, the whole nine. And you know that saying that they say the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. That was my motto. I went from one to the next, didn't have no time for self. The pandemic was literally one of the only things that helped change the whole situation, helped me get in a better mindset that I'm in today. Because once I got out of something, I tried to do the same thing again. Like I said, you have to have good people around you to be like, one of my friends said, you need to get it together because look what you're doing. Look what you're trying to do. You haven't had enough time to yourself and you're already trying to get wrapped up into something else. But 2 years I say is enough for me. But I don't know what it is for other people. But whether it's a year, 6 months, whatever. But I had to literally be by myself for 2 months to get it together. Or 2 months, 2 years.
Well, and the pandemic forced people to kind of be by themselves. So I think that it probably helps a lot of people. But I was thinking about these young people and swiping right or whatever it is. I mean, I don't even understand all that. But, I mean, I can't even imagine the dating scene when that's what you're doing. Like, that doesn't even process for me.
Listen, I would download an app and I would swipe right, left, whatever the hell you want to call it. And after a while, after I done sat there and started communicating with one person, like, we're not going to keep going through this shit over and over and over again with like 10 people. I'm not typing, stories to you. Like, excuse my language, but fuck that. I don't have time for that. Like, I want to meet somebody the right way, the natural way, to what I'm used to. All this swiping and shit like that, fuck that. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't.
I can't even imagine what that's like and how that's not organic. That's like the luck of the draw. You know what I mean? Like, that's planning too much shit out. You go to a bar and you have some drinks and you meet a nice guy like all normal people. I mean, this swiping right stuff, I just don't get it. Maybe I'm old, but
I want no parts of it at all. But
no,
just saying, hey, it is what it is. So
that's a lot to deal with.
Well, you're happily married, which is good. Does your husband, participate in any of the promotions, the creativity behind the scenes? I think that's very important too. When you have a spouse that actually understands your vision and knows exactly where you're going.
He is very supportive, and a Fairy Off the Street, that was my first kind of, I'll call it a smut book that I wrote, and so I went in there to him and I was like, I can't let my kids edit this book, obviously, because up to that point I'd written clean stuff and my kids would edit it and all that. I was like, I can't let them do that. I need you to read this book. And he does not read fiction. So if he's reading, it's a car manual or a political book or something like that. So he read it and he came in the room and he said, okay, this is not my thing, but I have to admit this is really good. So, he does. So he supports it, and he'll help me with my book covers. If there's something that I can't get right, so I make all my own book covers. I don't pay anybody to do that.
Oh wow, that's
So he'll help
amazing.
me with those, and he's really great.
Good. That's amazing. I didn't know that you did your own book covers. That is awesome.
Yeah. The creative process for me, I kind of like. I tried with one book. I reached out to an artist and I was like, "Here's what I want."
Mm-hmm.
And after going back and forth with them for about 3 weeks, they were like, "We can't do what you want."
That's crazy.
And I was like, "Okay." So I finally was just like, "Screw it! I'm gonna make all my own covers." And that's what I did.
Well, I love your energy. I love that you were so excited to come on the show tonight. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. Your books are amazing. You definitely are a storyteller. I mean, there's so many different things that I'm glad that we were able to make this connection.
Me too.
So, if you can go ahead and let us know one more time where everyone can go follow you at, that would be so greatly appreciated.
Yes, go follow me on Instagram at EllieAiden82. Anything you need to know about me is on there.
All right. That's what's up. Thank you so much for coming on Reading Between the Wines. I actually had a great show tonight. I've almost finished my glass, so I'm feeling really good, and your stories were amazing. So thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful night, and hopefully we will see you again on here real soon. We got summer coming up, so when this new book comes out, you definitely got to come back.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Do we have like a month? Like, is it June, July, August? When do you think?
Well, I originally said July, but I actually think it's going to probably be August that book will come out.
All right, so I'll keep that in mind, and I'll let you know when I got some dates in August.
That's perfect. I'd love that.
Very good. Okay, take care now and enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Very good. Okay. All right, y'all. So there you have it. Author Ellie Aiden. Like I said, I was sampling this Beringer White Merlot. I don't know if y'all have ever had this before, but definitely did what it needed to do tonight. So now, if you would like to support Reading Between the Wines or the 411 podcast, please go ahead. Click that link above all of my social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, DLive, Twitch. You can get snippets and check out scenes from the show on Daily Motion as well. Thank you so much for all of my friends who come through and support each and every night. If you want to support, please go ahead and check me out on YouTube at Laren Gaines. Please like, comment, share. And now tomorrow, we have One IQ coming in the building. I can't wait to speak to him. And then Freestyle Sessions is coming Friday. We got my friend Danny all the way from Belgium. We're going to have a great conversation on Friday as well. So we got some good things coming up this week. So again, thank you so much for all the love and support. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. right here, 411 Podcast. Thank you so much. Take care, y'all. Have a good night.